Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to be here and really excited to get rolling. The first thing that I need to ask, I'm from Canada, Vancouver specifically. So when are you guys bringing your service up to Canada? Because I spend thousands of dollars a year on my cell phone bill, $500 a month to be exact. And I get the worst service. So I'll make you a deal right now. You come to Canada, I'll be your first customer. We'll sail off in the sunset, happy as can be. And I'm sure you could survive just off having one customer myself, right? I have 75 minutes in total to talk to you. 60 minutes is the talk, 15 minutes Q&A. I love Q&A because you get to ask me questions that I can't prepare for, and that really separates kind of the practitioners from the theory people. But the three things I want to talk to you about, and Greg had mentioned it, is employee experience. So what are you doing for your team, your store, your departments, the people that report into you? What are you doing to give them more meaning? I'm going to move on into the customer experience part of it. You guys do well, right? I'm not here to tell you that customer service is important, because we get that. I want to help you go to that next level. And then I'm going to talk to you about something that I'm extremely passionate about, and that's personal development and personal branding. When I was preparing for this engagement about a week ago, I had a little bit of anxiety, not because there's 500 people in the room right now. That doesn't faze me at all. Not because your market cap's 200 billion. That doesn't scare me. It's because how am I supposed to take everything I know about those three topics and condense it into one talk? But I think I've done that. And I would like you to judge me. I have thick skin. My name's Michelle, after all. That's a pretty good laugh for that one. Thank you. I want you to judge me on three things. Was I memorable? I'm not going to give you that song and dance. I want my message to resonate you 12 months from now, not just for the next 12 minutes. Was I entertaining? I don't believe in giving just kind of fluffy talks. That's not in my DNA as a professional or as an individual at all. If you're looking for fluff, watch YouTube videos. It's much cheaper. And lastly, I want to be educational. I need to be educational. I need you to be able to go back to your store, back to your departments, back to your place of business, and be able to take 2 to 5 or 10 things that I say today that is going to inspire you or have you think, I can do that. I can do that. That's how I want you to judge me today. The reason I start off all of my talks, all of my engagements with employee experience, I'm paraphrasing, but companies will come to me and say, make our employees more loyal. And typically they think I'm always going to try to build new strategies or deploy. But the first thing that I do is I look at their employee experience first. And that's everything I have based my career on. And I'm just getting started. I'm 29. I understand that I don't have the personal brand of a Tony Robbins yet. So allow me the first few moments to build some equity with you and tell you my backstory and why I'm here on this stage today. In 2004, I wanted to learn how to grow a business. I always felt like I had that entrepreneurial DNA. So I went to university in Vancouver, studied to earn my Bachelor's of Business Administration degree. And it was fantastic. I went to a micro high school, 400 people, so this campus life was fantastic. Go to bars every single night. It was great. Hang out with your buddies. It was awesome. For 2 years, I paid my way through school. Unfortunately, I didn't come from a wealthy family, so I had to hustle my way and pay my tuition. For 2 years, I had fun, but I realized the only thing I really know is what opportunity cost means, what price elasticity means, and I knew I could drink a bottle of Crown Royal without falling down, and that's pretty impressive because as you can see, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. So after 2 years, I was at a crossroads. I kind of had a crisis of meaning. And I turned to my grandfather for some advice. And to give you some context on my grandfather, he operated a fish market. As sexy as that sounds, he sold fish to hotels and restaurants and to everyday consumers like us. So he was B2B and B2C. And I really respected him because he grew his one retail location to several and then sold to a much bigger company and for like a few $1 million. And a few $1 million in Peru back then was like $1 billion. So I asked him for some advice. I said, Granddad, what should I do? You know, I don't know what I want to specialize in. Should I be in sales? Should I be in HR? What about PR? And I was like pitching him on ideas. And then he said something that was the beginning of my career. He said, go out and be the master of customer service. And the first words that came out of my mouth were, you want me to be a bag boy in a grocery store? Because I equated customer service to something that helps operate a business, but it doesn't help grow it. I thought menial jobs, low-paying jobs. And he corrected me, and he said, how did I grow my business? And I said, well, you had fantastic product, and you had fantastic location. You were product-centric, and you had great location. Every retail organization needs great location to drive traffic. And he said, yes, those two things are true, but the reason I was successful, the reason I was able to double down and always grow my business was because I obsessed over the service that I delivered to my customers. Everything else was completely secondary. Because of my obsession, I empowered my customers to go out and recruit their friends and family members and to buy from me again. And that was organic growth. Every single one of you should habitually use the word organic growth within your business and coach your team on what that means, because organic growth is the outcome of delivering an amazing experience through referrals and repeat business. And ask your CFO, ask anyone in your organization who watches the bottom line, they love organic growth. You know why? Because the cost of customer acquisition is so little, if anything at all. My grandfather's next challenge was, how do I scale my effort? How do I find people to deliver that same amazing service that I'm trying to deliver? With that motivation, that was it for me. If you know anything about me at all, and I know many of you don't know who I am, I really hope to establish a relationship with you after, but you'll learn really quickly, whenever I do anything, whether it was playing hockey as a kid or business today, I go all in with everything. I don't half-ass anything. So with that motivation, I went back to my university. I said, I want to earn a degree in customer experience management. I might have asked the counselor for $1 million because she gave me that same blank look. She didn't know what it was. Even to this day, universities aren't handing out degrees for customer experience management. And it's absolutely insane to me, because think of every single admired brand that you shop from and with as consumers. They all grow through their customers. I think that's a huge miss. But I'm not an academic, so I'm not going to do anything about it. If you guys are academics, by all means, there's my lead for you guys. So I was frustrated. I was like, how am I supposed to learn this? I turned to my grandfather again, and he gave me some further advice. He said, postpone your university degree, go out, find a company that grew from humble beginnings to something admired. Contribute to their success, work hard, establish relationships, learn, and get paid to do all of it. That was music to my ears, because as I said, I had to pay for my university. My bank account was broke in university, like most people are. But then he said something that made me nervous, and I don't know how many of you in the audience are South American like me, but my grandfather was like, oh, and by the way, if you tell your mother I told you to drop out of university, I'll kill you. And I was just like, he might be serious. That's the scary thing. So that was it. I was playing basketball one summer with my friend Naveed Sharif. He was in dental school, and he took up a job with a company called 1-800-GOT-JUNK, based in Vancouver. Who's familiar with 1-800-GOT-JUNK? Please raise your hand. Okay, a good half of the room. For those not familiar, 1-800-GOT-JUNK is one of North America's great entrepreneurial stories. It started in Vancouver in 1989. One guy, one truck, $1,000 investment. What they'll do is they will come to your home or to your business and remove stuff you no longer want anymore. It's like a FedEx type service, and you pay them, and it's great. Today, they do over $100 million in sales, one owner, operating in 3 countries, thousands of employees, hundreds of franchisees. That was it. That was the company I was going to devote my career to and learn and hustle. And I started off in the call center. I know what it's like. The reason why some big companies will hire me to coach their team, their frontline employees, because it wasn't too long ago that I was answering 100 calls a day. Right? I know that grind that frontline employees go through every single day. I have a term that I call service endurance, to be able to bring that same level of energy to the 100th call or the 100th customer as you did the first customer. But you know what I know that you definitely don't? And I don't mean to insult you. Have you ever had to greet a customer and said, "Hi, thank you for calling," or "Thanks for visiting this store. My name's Michelle, how can I help you?" And every single time, the person's like, "Michelle, you don't sound like a woman." And then you're having to apologize, and you're like, "I'm sorry, like my parents named me after a woman, but spelled it like Michael without the A. I'm really sorry." Like, if anybody in the audience, males named Kelly or Lindsay or anything like that, we can go have tea after this, have a kumbaya session, talk about our problems. Talk to my therapist, she'll tell you everything. I'm kidding. So that was my start. And you guys work for a fantastic company. I worked with a micro company, $100 million. You guys are over $200 billion. That is the opportunity that you guys have to work with such a fantastic company. While I was at that company at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I set a goal. One day, because I fell in love with customer experience. One day, I knew I wanted to become an executive coach and I wanted to work with big companies. But I knew that I couldn't just raise my hand one day, because back then I look even younger than I do right now. And I needed to cut my teeth, put some feathers in my hat, and earn some credibility. I worked my way up in the call center, became a team captain, helped the management there. That's when I transitioned over to the operations management side of the business. NPS, that's where I learned about NPS, how to build it, how to deploy it, how to manage it. 1-800-GOT-JUNK has an NPS score. I don't know what it is today, but when I left, it was 85, and it's always been that high. We realized that, wow, some of our customers are complaining after we deployed NPS. We better do something about that. So we built something called the complaint resolution system, reduced customer complaints by 33% in 3 months. When people ask me, "What's the ROI of customer experience, Michelle?" that's usually what I go for. I'm like, let's attack with customer retention. What is it going to mean to your business or to your store if you increase customer retention by 5%? Harvard Business School does studies all the time on customer retention. I highly recommend you study those reports and case studies. We built training material for thousands of employees. We had a good training program, and so do you. I've been briefed and prepped on your organization, and it's good. But I want to help you take it to that next level, and that's what we did at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We wanted to set the bar even higher, not in our industry, because it's the garbage industry, but it was regardless of industry. We wanted to go head-to-head with every single admired company. I obsessed over my education. Okay, I didn't just write a book on customer experience and then went to LinkedIn and quickly changed my tagline to expert. I could care less about being an expert. I could care less about being a guru or whatever titles are being thrown around today. What I care about is to be able to speak in front of an audience like this and be able to envision what is business going to be like in 5 to 7 years and pass along those thoughts in the hopes that in 5 years, what I'm suggesting is going to happen actually happens. And then you're like, wow, remember that guy with that great haircut at Anaheim? He nailed it. Hopefully. I studied 5 companies: Apple, Amazon, Zappos, Southwest Airlines, and WestJet. When I say study them, I didn't just read an article or two. If there's any article online about those companies, if there's an interview with their CEOs, I've studied it, I've analyzed it. I know those companies better than I know my girlfriend. She's not here today, so that's cool. but I learned a lot from those companies. And like I said, I obsessed over my education because why do we always have to reinvent the wheel? Look at neighboring companies and understand what they do and just take it into your business. Put your own spin on it. I had a mentor one time, a few years ago. He said, Michelle, R&D doesn't stand for research and development. It stands off for rip off and duplicate. And while that sounds a little shameless, it kind of makes sense. Apple taught me that no matter how good your product is, if you do not combine it with service, then it's all for nothing. If Apple isn't product-centric, like they're customer-centric, they're not the most valuable company in the world, and Samsung's a leader in their industry. Zappos, we know Zappos' story, $1 million to $1 billion in 10 years. That is hyper-growth. WestJet Airlines, what I learned from them, they're based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, is that no matter how motivated the company is to improve the customer experience, it's all for nothing if your leader, if your CEO, or if your general manager in the store isn't fully bought in as well too. Greg Soretsky is the CEO of WestJet. He is the most, in my opinion, the most underrated CEO in business today. I highly recommend you Google his name and learn from him. Southwest Airlines, they have had 39 years of consecutive profitability in the airline industry, the worst industry in the world for profitability, because if one thing goes wrong, there goes your profits, and they obsess over service. Amazon, 1994, they start off in a garage. They had a cute little bell that would go off every single time a book was sold. You can't get more small business than that other than your niece's lemonade stand. And their tagline, their slogan is to be Earth's most customer-centric company, not the biggest e-retailer in the world. I've taken all those learnings from those companies and literally hundreds or thousands of hours of studying my craft because, like I said, I wanted to go all in with this stuff because it made sense to me. Every admired company right now, the foundation of their business is to obsess over their customers. And yet, some people are still asking, what is the ROI? I go and I meet with CEOs all the time, and I'm trying to hustle for a budget to improve their customer experience. And often they're like, well, Michelle, we're a conservative company. We don't know how much we can spend on improving this customer experience. I'm like, you're spending 8 figures on print advertising. What is the ROI of that? And that's when I catch them, and it's hard. I've never seen people stumble and say a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about my craft. 24 months ago, I left to do exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to hit my short-term goals, and I get to speak in front of a fantastic organization like this and consult for companies in similar size as well too. And I share that backstory with you because I know this. I know this just like the sun is gonna rise tomorrow, that when I step on stage, people are like, wow, I wonder where he parked his skateboard. Or, wow, he looks like my nephew, not niece, because that would be weird. Niece, nephew. But I want you to understand that everything that we're trying to do in my company and you guys are trying to do in your company, you are on the right path. When push comes to shove, companies that claim to be customer-centric revert back to sales and marketing. When it comes to your employee experience, it always has to come first. When I work with companies, you can't improve your customer experience if your employee experience is subpar. As leaders within this organization, what you need to do is rather simple. You need to give your team the tools, the education, and the motivation to succeed, and then get out of their way. Let them navigate the customer experience on your behalf. Phil Jackson does not get in Michael Jordan's way. He builds the blueprint, he runs the practice, he runs the sideline, but he doesn't get in his way. And Michael Jordan becomes the best basketball player in the world. And if anybody, I know where I am right now. Some of you guys are thinking, well, Michelle, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. You guys are wrong. Michael Jordan, best basketball player ever. Thank you. Sports fans. Any Redskins fans? Yeah. Good stuff, man. Let's have a drink after, even though it's only 9 a.m. So somebody once told me, my first manager said, Michelle, employees don't fail, systems do. And as soon as that hit me, it was like a slap in the face. I was like, you're right. People don't fail. We are not set up to fail. It's the things around us in our environment that fail us. And then it's a domino effect. Remove yourself, not physically, stay here please. Remove yourself mentally from where you are right now. Place yourself in your business, at your desk right now, at your store. Joey might be one of your employees. Somebody reports into you. And for the store managers here, maybe Joey isn't hitting his accessory sales targets. Okay? And you might be thinking, Jesus, Joey's not cutting it. The first thing that I would do is look at the type of training Joey's getting. You have great training. I've seen it. But maybe the training isn't suited for his learning style, perhaps. Or Kelly's just not fitting in with your team, whether it's at the store or at head office. Is it Kelly's fault? Maybe it was your hiring methodologies that failed you, and somehow Kelly was able to pass the hiring phase and join your team. We are not set up as individuals, as human beings, we're not set up for failure unless the things that are supposed to support us fail us first. When I work with companies, that's one of the first things I look for. What type of systems are supporting your team? The people that deliver the experience. I speak to CEOs all the time, and I say very candidly but respectfully, look, your customers don't know who you are. If you got hit by a bus, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't even know. But if one of your employees who your customers are loyal to disappears, goes to another company, that's when your business starts eroding. And that should keep you up at night, Mrs. CEO. Two things that I think are really, can be neglected within business that highly impact the employee experience is hiring and onboarding, employee onboarding. Hiring, again, I know your methodology for hiring, fantastic. But as I said, I want to try to take it to that next level. And hiring is we need to start hiring like we plan a wedding. How many people in the room has helped plan a wedding before? Okay, for the men in the room, who are you kidding? You didn't plan anything. And you raised your hand so proudly, too. That's nice. Think of how meticulous we become when we plan a wedding. Should we bring Sally? Oh, if we bring Sally, we can't have Pete. Oh, and Kelly drinks a lot. I don't know if she's going to fit in. And what table should we set them at? We obsess over that. It takes us weeks to plan a wedding. We need to start hiring exactly like we do plan a wedding. We need to start asking a little more challenging questions to help understand if the candidate is going to be able to deliver an amazing experience. All of my clients ask these questions, and they're going to sound really weird. Ask candidates going forward, what's the temperature of the sun? Sounds like a weird question, right? The answer is irrelevant. 99% of people don't know the answer. And if you know the answer, please don't raise your hand because you're really going to ruin this bit. But what you want to hear from that candidate is, I don't know the answer, Michelle, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to let you know. And if you get an email on your phone an hour later from Joey saying, Michelle, thank you very much for the interview. I truly believe I can bring value to the organization. Oh, and by the way, the answer is X. Thanks, Joey. hire that person on the spot. Because how do you think they're going to treat your customers when they don't know the answer to their questions? And we've all been consumers where we've asked a question and the employee didn't really know and kind of fumbled the answer, wasn't really confident, hurt the experience. What about how many pairs of shoes are there in America? Again, 100% of people won't know the answer to that question. The question's irrelevant. The answer's irrelevant. What you want to hear the candidate say is, can I ask a few questions of my own before I answer yours? How do you define shoes? Dress shoes? Industrial boots? Do those count too? What about high heels? What about shoes that are in production today, as we speak right now? What about shoes that are sitting at Foot Locker waiting to be bought? Help me understand your question before I give you an answer. Hire that person on the spot, because that person's analytical and knows how to think on their feet. And sometimes to deliver a consistent customer experience, you have to be able to think on your feet. I don't know what questions you ask, right? It might vary store to store, but just make sure that they're not questions that you can prepare for, like, what are your weaknesses? Or tell me of a time where you took a customer from sadness to pure joy. I can prepare for that in my sleep, right? We need to start making it a little more difficult. I have coached companies to ask those questions. They're like, Jesus, we don't have any people left to hire. Like, you've completely taken all the candidates out of the pool. Something that I really, really like, employee onboarding. Employee onboarding's like, it's like carrot cake. I'm thinking about this on the fly, guys, so hang with me here. Carrot cake has always existed. We've always known about it, but for some reason we don't pay attention to it. Same go with employee onboarding. What is the first day like for your employee that you have hired, your team member, your associate manager? What is the first day like for them? We need to onboard our employees exactly like we host a party. If you've ever hosted a party before or a housewarming party, think of how meticulous you became. You swept up the leaves leading up to the walkway. As soon as they came in, you shook their hands, you hugged them, you're like, come with me, come with me, come with me, sit down. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You got them really hype. A really great question to ask during the interview process to set yourself up for a successful employee onboarding experience is, what is an indulgence you can't live without that costs less than $10? Kind of catches them off guard. If you asked me that question, I would say Toblerone. I'll eat Toblerone until I pass out, wake up in a new city without my clothes on. That's how much I love that stuff. So why is that question relevant? If you hired me, if you want me to give my undying loyalty to you as my boss or the organization, my first interaction on day one, if you had a card said, hi Michelle, welcome to the team, and everybody signed it and there was a big Toblerone to it, it would bring tears to my eyes. And I would be like, no employer has ever cared about me like that. And guess what that does? That motivates me to go crush it for you, deliver an amazing experience, hits my sales targets. I will feel like I owe you something. And that's when you get to step back and let me navigate the experience. It's a huge miss. Employee onboarding is a huge miss in 99% of companies that I investigate, even the best of the best. And I have high expectations for these billion-dollar companies that I work with. And I'm just like, geez, you guys are missing the smallest little things that is going to build rapport with me. Do the simple things. Don't neglect them because they're so simple, right? For the men in the audience, how many times does your wife or your girlfriend or your spouse or your partner yell at you for leaving your gross underwear on the bathroom floor? And you're just like, it's no big deal. Yeah, it is to her. And the employees are the same way. Those little things matter more than you think. I believe that the success of your business 12 months from now is determined by the level of service that you deliver today and tomorrow. I want to let that sink in for a little bit. Because the ROI of customer experience isn't instantaneous like pay-per-click. And sometimes companies and individuals don't have the corporate courage to think long-term. I believe many professionals have trained themselves to think short-term to secure their own livelihood. And that is a fancy and really polite way. I'm Canadian, I'm polite and nice. That's a nice way of saying that you're probably making decisions in your business to save the numbers and so you don't get fired. Because guess what? When I pitch a company and say, you need a complaint resolution system, and they're like, when's the ROI coming? I'll be like, in 12 months. More often than not, they'll just revert back to traditional marketing. They're like, okay, we're good with that. We'll just stick with that. I do a lot of thinking. Me and my pal, Johnny Walker, we sit down, we talk, we have a good time. And I do a lot of my creative thinking. Don't worry, I edit sober, like Ernest Hemingway used to. But I did some thinking. I was like, why is it we have all of the data to show us that customer experience pays a return? Why is it that most companies aren't going all in with it and just kind of getting their feet wet? And I had like a eureka moment. I remember it vividly. I was in Whistler hanging out at a cabin. And it's because it's not tangible. You can't really touch or see or hear customer experience. You can touch print advertising. You can see a Super Bowl ad. You can hear a radio campaign. And for some executives, for some professionals, that's enough. As long as I can see it, touch it, or hear it, I'll write the check. I'll endorse the budget. And here I am, and many of you as well too, who are hustling for a greater budget to improve the customer experience, and you're having to say, okay, the ROI is gonna be coming in 24 months. And then you hold your breath and hope your boss doesn't fire you on the spot. Jeff Bezos says it best, the CEO of Amazon. We are willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time. He will invest whatever it is to improve the customer experience, even though the ROI is 12 to 24 months away. Wall Street doesn't like that because Wall Street lives over quarter, shoots their stock down a bit, but it always comes back up. Again, I'm always asked, what's the ROI of customer experience, Michelle? I'm starting to get like really tired of answering it, but I believe customer experience is sales. I believe customer experience is marketing. I believe customer experience is also PR. Let me explain. I want you today, if you're gonna take anything from this talk, make it this and tell your team. You have not earned the permission to cross or upsell your customers until you've built trust first. Think about the customer that you've spoken to or have done business with that you converted, and you're like, that was a great experience, and I sold a bunch of stuff to her as well too. It was a win-win. She converted, he converted, because they trusted you, because of that experience that you delivered. Amazon becomes over a $100 billion market cap company because in 1994 they decided we're going to sell books and we're going to build trust and build trust and build trust and build trust, and when the time is right, we will sell them something else. And bam, they cross-sold us a blender, and bam, they upsold us a spatula, and I'm like, holy crap, that was awesome. I want to do it again, right? And that's exactly what your team has to do as well too. I was at an electronics store called Future Shop in Canada, in Vancouver, and I swear to God, that place is hell on earth for me. Because one time I went to go and buy a TV, and the guy tried to cross-sell me a dishwasher that was on sale, and I was like, when on earth did I tell you that I needed a dishwasher? Are you telling me my clothes are gross? And then I sat him down and I was like, listen, pal, I need to coach you on this. But think about it as well too. Your highest performing employees, the ones who convert the highest, are ones that have a genuine rapport and trust with their customers. That is exactly why customer experience is sales. You just have to be able to think long term and think like you're at 30,000 feet. Customer experience is also marketing. Because way back when, somebody decided to slap the word marketing behind word of mouth. Word of mouth marketing, we always attributed it to a marketing function. But what powers word of mouth? It's powered by customer experience. Because let me tell you this, I was in Buffalo probably 6 months ago, and I was working with this company, and the woman I was speaking to was like, we're spending just under 7 figures recreating our logo. And that's to design it, deploy it. And I'm like, 7 figures? Really? Your NPS score is 5. 5. Well, you know you suck when you can use one hand to tell your customers or your employees what your NPS score is. I didn't say it to her like that. I would have got fired on the spot. But I was like, ma'am, who cares about your logo? That's just a vanity play. Your logo could be a little coil of poop for all I care, and I would still do business off you if your service was amazing. That got me to think of what really does power customer experience and marketing and word-of-mouth marketing. It's the feeling that we get. I was sitting a week ago in preparation for this event. I drove from Vancouver to Bellis Fair, Washington. Is Darren here, the general manager? There you are, pal. How's it going? Good stuff. Darren welcomed me to his store. And I did a little eavesdropping. I was kind of hanging out, doing a little bit of kind of mystery shopping. And I literally heard a woman say to one of Darren's team members, I'm so happy I moved over to you guys. 6 months ago, I was with another carrier. My husband heard that you guys have a better service. Here's my money. In different words, she didn't say that. But it's because of service. It's not because of your logo and what colors you have. It's insane how some companies just obsess over ego. I think some companies rather be egocentric than customer-centric because it makes them feel nice and proud. Super Bowls, $4 million a pop. I'm a big football fan, I always watch the Super Bowl, and I saw this auto manufacturer. I'm not going to name their name because I really want to work with them, but I saw their ad. It was funny. It was really good. Didn't make me buy a car, though. And then I was curious. I went to Google. I typed in the company name and typed in J.D. Power and Associates CSI Index. They were 10th out of 12 auto manufacturers. I'm like, Jesus, $4 million for an ego play when your service sucks. What if you took that $4 million or even $2 million and kept 2 within TV, more conservative spots? What would that have done to your customer retention if you deliver better service? Your bottom line likes that more than your ego play. To go back to the customer experiences sales for a moment, again, another kind of eureka moment with my pal Johnny Walker. I believe too many companies are fighting for market share when in reality they should be fighting for wallet share. Because a fight for market share is a fight against your competition, and it's hard to control that. Fight for wallet share. What is it going to mean to your store or to your department or to the entire company if your customers spend 5, 10, 20% more with you this month, this quarter, this year? And that's that organic growth that we want. Every single one of you in your careers here at Verizon or at companies before this, the greatest sale you ever made was somebody who came in and said, I bought something from you 6 months ago. I want to buy again. And then they open their wallet and you're smiling because you know you can convert that. Or when Sally comes in and says, my husband has told me to switch all of our lines over to Verizon because of your level of service. Conversion, through the roof. But that doesn't happen if your customer experience isn't consistent and predictable. The consistency stuff we get. Your service needs to be predictable. Starbucks gets predictable service. Because I know if it's 8:52 and I have a call at 9 a.m., I still have time to get my coffee and make it on time for my call at 9. Your service needs to be so predictable that your customers will go into your store and they blink and the experience is over. And you're happy because they're just swiping their credit cards and they're happy to spend with you. Customer experience is also PR. I don't know the PR kind of initiatives or campaign for Verizon very well, but I know this. I know that Zappos goes from 1 million to 1 billion hypergrowth in 10 years, and a large part of that was because of their PR push. I've studied all their case studies, all their PR hits, and if you read every single one of them, they're not talking about their product. They're talking about their level of service internally and externally, their level of service to their employees and their culture, and their level of service to their customers. I coined a term called service curiosity after studying Zappos, because as consumers, we all heard about Zappos, and we love getting service. We love getting good service. And eventually, you heard enough about them, I'm Canadian, sorry about that, I got that out of the way. You heard enough about them that you were like, I want to shop from them as well too. And Zappos loved it because it didn't cost them anything for that PR hit, and they acquired a customer for nothing. How they recruit team members as well too. I visited Zappos before Zappos Insights, or before the Zappos tours. I was there early, and I got to listen to phone calls for 4 hours in their call center, just widejacking, listening, and every single employee I talked to was referred by an existing employee. And that happens in the media as well too. If you're always out there talking about your culture, people are gonna start banging on your doors, begging to work for you. And if they have that motivation, guess what they're gonna do to your customers? They're gonna blow them away, and you're gonna look so good. This next topic is something that really resonates with me, and I think it's often overlooked. Micro customer experiences. I don't think companies should be trying to hit grand slams when there's nobody even on the base. Hit singles and doubles first, then swing for the fences, because if you miss, you still got people on base. And if you hit, there's more numbers on the scoreboard for you. What a micro customer experience is a small, subtle, memorable, affordable gesture you do for your customers. Starbucks gets micro customer experiences by putting your name on the cup. 99 times out of 100, they get it right, and it makes you feel nice. Go back to your team and educate them on micro customer experiences, because it's the little things that earn loyalty with your customers. It's the little things that you do consistent that earns that loyalty. It's not those Super Bowl ads. Yes, I get brand awareness. I get traditional media, but what I don't get is when companies go out and spend 7, 8, 9, whatever amount of figures to grow their business, but yet their team aren't hitting singles and doubles yet. What I equate micro customer experiences to, I'm very close with my family, so I'll use an example here. The reason I have undying loyalty to Raul and Rosa Falcon, and why I would die tomorrow to let them live a very healthy life, is because of the micro love that they gave me as a kid. Yes, they would save up their money to buy me a Super Soaker or a Nerf gun as a kid, and I loved them for it for like 48 hours until I was tired of it or traded it with a neighbor. And that didn't buy my loyalty. The reason I am loyal to my parents today, and why you should with your customers, and why your customers should be loyal to you, is because of that little love they gave me, and the little love you give your customers. When my parents would say, Michelle, you're not chubby, you just eat well. And clearly I was a chubby kid. And those teeth aren't crooked, that gives you character. Those big ears, that gives you character. Now I am smart enough to know that my parents were just feeding me BS the entire time I was a kid, but God love them. But that's the reason why I love them, is that consistent love, that hug, that predictability, that when I came home, that they were there. That's exactly what you need to do for your customers. And then you get to sit back and just watch them do the recruiting like my grandfather did. I believe, and this is not to offend anybody in the room or myself, I believe that people, business professionals and entrepreneurs that operated businesses before the internet were better business professionals and more astute than we are today. Because we rely so much on the internet for customer acquisition, and it makes us it's inorganic. The only way people knew how to grow businesses back then was by genuinely caring. And your biggest competitive advantage was caring more than the next guy. Do you guys care more than your competitors? Does your team care more than your competitors? That has to be one of your competitive advantages. So, where's Troy and Dave Garcia? There you are. Okay, remember how I told you I might pass out during this talk? It's not going to happen now, but it might happen in the last leg of it. This next topic gets me extremely jacked up. Personal development, personal branding. Each one of you are a personal brand within your organization, and as soon as you figure that out, that's when your career is going to hockey stick growth through the ceiling. I seek counsel from a friend named Reese Green. When I was trying to expand my team because I needed to scale, I couldn't handle the amount of clients that were coming to me, I turned to him for some advice. He's 25. I call him serial killer smart. I don't condone serial killers, but that's how smart this guy is. And I turned to him for advice. And I said, I need to find somebody. Help me recruit. And he said, look for these 3 traits. And I want you to think about yourself right now. Don't think about your company. Don't think about your store. Don't think about your department. Think about yourselves as individuals. Be selfish for a moment. Are you eager to learn? How eager are you to learn? Not just about your industry, not just about sales, but everything that has to do with business. Whether you want to advance in the organization or maybe start a pizza shop, whatever your passion is, how eager are you to learn? The thing that I have a problem with when it comes to post-secondary university is often people graduate, get their piece of paper, and then put their feet up. Because formally, their education has stopped. The day you stop learning is the day that you start dying. And that should scare the crap out of you because it scares me. It keeps me up at night. I don't want to be irrelevant in my business. A day in the life for me is this. My alarm goes off at 4:45 in the morning. 5 o'clock, I'm in my seat. I'm studying between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. Studying customer experience, studying all different parts of business because I'm scared to be irrelevant. I don't want my competition to have a leg up on me, ever. I go to work, 9 to 5 is customer acquisition mode, biz dev mode for me, execution time. I come home, go to the gym, eat dinner, 9 to midnight, study mode again. How much? 40 hours a week is a minimum, not a maximum. Help your team understand that as well too. You have to be willing to work your face off. If we all took an IQ test right now, I'll tell you right now that I would be in the bottom percentile because my biggest strength isn't intellect. My biggest strength is my work ethic. I don't focus on my weaknesses. I just double, triple down on my strengths. Now, you guys would probably crush me in an IQ test, but one thing that I would beat you on is my work ethic. And there's probably tons of hustlers out there that would say, no, Michelle, I'm going to go head to head with you. Well, I will die standing before you outwork me, because that's my greatest strength. Think about yourself for a second. What's your greatest strength? Say it to yourself really quickly in your head. Double down on that. The second trait of people who do good things and really take their careers to the next level is they're driven. Again, back to the 40 hours a week, bare minimum. I know my competition to speak at an event like this and to consult. Heck, I'm just one guy, and one time I went up against Boston Consulting Group. I didn't win, but I was still in the same room. But I am so driven to hit my short and long-term goals that I'll do anything to hit them. Anything. I take the approach of this. Boston Consulting Group, they're enormous. But my approach to it is, why not me? Why can't I start a company like that? Every one of us are made up of the same matter, okay? When I go meet with CEOs, sometimes, I have a little bit of nerves. But I just think, you know what? We all wake up, we all go to bed, we're all humans, they're not better than me. Yes, their salaries look like telephone numbers, but we all brush our teeth in the morning. Nobody's more human than me. Maybe they have more experience. And that's, again, guys, some of you, let's be honest, discredited me right off the bat because I look like a kid. And I know that I don't have that 50-year career, so I double down on my work ethic. I know that I have to bust my butt and work my face off to hit my short-term goals. The third thing is being honest. How honest are you with yourself as a professional and as an individual? There's people in the room, you got the club over there that excels in NPS. I saw you guys take that picture. Very good looking group. And you might be number one today, but you could be completely irrelevant tomorrow. You need to be honest with your performance as an individual. If you know you're not doing well, guess what? So does your manager. So rather than waiting until he or she talks to you, be proactive and have that conversation first. People admire professionals that know their faults and want to get better at them. Michael Jordan didn't make his grade 10 basketball team. He was honest with his performance, doubled down on it, crushed it, hit 3 throws while people, I'm sure his friends were playing pogs. Well, I guess they didn't play pogs. I don't know, whatever kids did back then. But if you're ever in Vancouver, and I totally mean this, if you're ever in Vancouver, hit me up, email me. I want to invite you over, and I will cook you a meal. Well, not me, my girlfriend, much better cook. But I will welcome you to my home. You know why? Because I want to show you my bathroom mirror. Sounds really weird. Hang out with me for a second. On my bathroom mirror, I have taped my short-term goals, my long-term goals, and a picture of a home that is for sale and right now for $9 million, which I cannot afford. But I visualize my success because I brush my teeth 3 times a day. And every single time I'm brushing my teeth, what do you think I'm staring at? My goals. I have brainwashed myself to think I'm going to hit those. The house, I want to earn that house. Why does somebody own that house right now and I don't? And that might be kind of vain, but I like nice things, and I'm sure you do too. But you need to visualize your success and pretend like it's already happened and reverse engineer it. Live 5 years out. Every single one of you should willingly be able to set up an individual development plan for yourselves. Don't let your managers come to you and say, oh, by the way, Joey, it's time to put that plan together. HR needs us to do it. You should be doing that for yourselves. My long-term goal, guys, I'm 29. By the time I'm 40 years old, I want to be a hotelier. That is my long-term play. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to accumulate a lot of wealth to do it as well too. I don't know what city it's going to be, but that is my goal because I love service and I love hospitality. Everything that I do today and tomorrow is to hit that long-term goal, and I've visualized it, and I will hit that goal. I want you to go back to your business and not only just do this for yourself, but inspire your team members, the ones who look up to you, the ones who deliver that service, and help them visualize their success, whatever success means for them. The CEO of Verizon is in this room right now. You just don't know it yet. There's going back to that whole saying that, why not you? Why can't you be the CEO? Why can't you start a cotton candy shop? Only Darren's going to get that. Why can't you set up the best pizza chain in the world? The only person stopping you from hitting your goals is entirely yourself. I know it's early, but I would really appreciate it if you did this. I want you to stand up right now. Stand up right now if you want to double your income in the next 24 to 36 months. I want you to stand up if you want to pay your parents' mortgage, if you want to send your kids to university. I want you to stand up if you want to go from good to great. Look, there's 500 people standing in the room, and if you don't feel something right now like I do, then go to the hospital because you're not even living right now. I'm going to leave you, stay standing, I'm going to leave you with this. This is a quote that was once told to me that I honestly wish if my dad wouldn't kill me that I got tattoos, I would get this tattooed on my chest. It's, work hard in silence, let success be your noise. Thank you for your time this morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. Troy, when I was over there, almost blacked out. Almost blacked out. Thank you. I can bring you down a couple notches now. As you can tell, I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple dude. I know what I am destined to do. I'm obsessed with it. You know, I have many faults, probably more faults than strengths. And everything that I said, it doesn't require an algorithm. You don't need a PhD. I have 2 years. I didn't even earn a diploma. It kills my mother that I don't have a diploma because she's traditional. But if I can have success, and many of you are successful as well too, but how are you going to take it to that next level? That's the sweet spot.